Joseph, YouTube, welcome to the Coffee Pod. My name is Chisha Zed.
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
Ex-matchmaker Rebecca Lynn Pope releases an interesting video that a bunch of you guys have sent to me titled, Men Don't Want to Marry These Women. Now, I thought this was worth talking about for a number of reasons, but mainly because of Rebecca Lynn Pope's stance on whether you want to call it the manosphere or content produced in the male space, RP content, coffee, whatever you want to label it. She said some stuff about certain creators in the space and similar content. But in this video, she talks about the type of women men don't want to date. Video's titled, of course, Men Don't Want to Date These Women. So self-explanatory. And I have to be honest, Rebecca Lynn Pope does drink coffee.
I love everything about coffee. It is one of my favorite things in life.
Now, where she kind of differs and has differed with people in the past, and we're going to get into that here later on. This is going to be a longer form video, guys. She's differed with her opinions to the methods people go about discussing things like relationships. And I know the main reason people probably sent me this video is because of my recent video on Kendra G, where she pretty much shares newfound knowledge, and it's all shit we've heard before, right? It's the same stuff about modern women and men and dating, delusional expectations, etc. And in this video, Rebecca Lynn Pope was serving some coffee. Let's check out a short clip real quick.
It might be you. You are the common denominator in your life. You may not be the type of woman that men want to marry.
And it gets intense, right? She goes into reasons why, etc. But guys, that's not where we're going to start. We're not going to start with that recent video she just released. I want to focus on an earlier video, actually a few years back, that followed Kevin Samuel's viral video, because she responded to that first viral video, Average at Best, that put KS on the map on mainstream platforms. And she had a different take on that video. And you would think, based on how she's talking now, and she has said similar things in the past about women, she didn't like that video. Of course, you guys remember that video with the chick coming on and the ridiculous expectations. And he told her, well, ma'am, you're average at best. So let's start with her reaction to the Average at Best video by KS. And keep in mind, guys, at this point, people are on opposing sides. They're men and women who recognize the problem with feminism, how it's affected modern dating today, and men not having platforms to voice out their opinions. And it's finally seeping into the mainstream's ears. People are reacting. There are people who dislike, very strongly dislike, and that's most people, because most people don't drink coffee, we understand, disliked that video. Then there are people who were in support of it. And what I'm about to play right now is Rebecca Lynn Pope speaking on and reacting to that first video and talking about some other things. Keep in mind, the video is cut up, so there might lack like ideal context with this stuff. This would have been a 4+ hour video if I included everything, but I did my best. No more wasting time. Let's get it.
I'm thinking about this young girl who just had somebody speak to her in such a way that was so belittling and so degrading that if this was my daughter, if this was my child, if this was my niece, if this was somebody I love, and I don't know who she is, but my heart. Now, am I saying that there aren't women who have unrealistic expectations? No, you guys know I've done videos. There's women who have ridiculous expectations. But do we have to talk to them that way? No. And just like there's women who have ridiculous expectations, there's also women who don't have ridiculous expectations. There are women doing their work. There are women building a great life for themselves. There's women doing their healing work. There's women who are working on their life, who are phenomenal women, well-balanced women, who are literally ready for healthy relationships and out here looking for a great guy, right? A great guy.
I want to say this also. I'm taking this video a lot more seriously than I did the Kendra G video, because I have respect for the fact that Rebecca Lynn Pope is married. Anybody who is in a marriage And you don't have to be married to drink coffee, but anybody who's in a marriage, I know it's not easy. It's not easy. It's not easy to be in a relationship. You guys know, as someone who is engaged myself, it's not easy to maintain a relationship. It's not easy for men or women, but especially for women today who have been drinking tea, right? Been drinking that Kool-Aid and have to undo the female empowerment brainwashing that they've gone through. Obviously, she's claimed she's done the work. She is married. Congratulations to her. That takes work. Work is respect. But let's keep listening.
To be in a relationship with. So it's not either or. It's not either or. It's all of the above. There's everything out here. So when you go in and you do a video, here's what's happening with social media. With social media, it's like it's overgeneralizing everything. Everything. It's like all women are like this, or all men are like this, and that's not true. I'm talking about the effect that this stuff has on everyday people who are literally watching this stuff and consuming this stuff, and then saying and internalizing and saying, I'm destined to be alone. There's no way I'm ever going to be able to be in a relationship. I'm 40 plus, right? Healthy, well-balanced, strong, happy men do not feel the need to degrade women, do not feel the need to talk down to women, do not feel the happy, strong, well-balanced men do not talk to women like this.
Okay, so there was a lot that was said there, and you guys saw the jump cuts. Those were the parts that I wanted to personally address and got the gist of the majority of the video. She said, not all women. Well, we know it's not all women, but could it be most? Could it be most women? And she would actually admit that most women are like this later on in another video, but more on that later. And then she talks about healthy men don't go out here talking bad on women. We haven't been in an era where men have been given this much access to be honest about what they think about relationships and have the power to build their own platforms without getting canceled for that long. And men are being honest about what they want and what they don't want. Women have been doing this, and not only have they been talking down on men for a long time, painting men as the villains, but they still do it today. I mean, if she's saying that, these are my disagreements, right? If she's saying that healthy men don't talk down on women they disagree with and behaviors they disagree with, then should we also assume that majority of women who are out here doing the same thing today all over TikTok are also not good women? It is more of a trend to see women trashing men on social media than it is to see men. Men are just more efficient at building audiences and brands, etc., that actually pick up because men are great. No, but really, man, like, who's out here talking the most shit on platforms, bringing down people? It's easy to cry when you see a man finally tell a woman the truth that her sexual market value, her value on the dating market, is average, not her personal value, not her personal worth. God loves her. I'm sure her parents love her and family. Those two things should not be confused, and they can both be true at the same time. But I know it's difficult. It's difficult to see a woman being held accountable. And no one likes to drink coffee, man. Not even myself. No one likes to be accountable. No one enjoys admitting that they're wrong. But in this context, we can't act like Kevin Samuels or anybody else who does similar content is a monster for forcing a woman to drink coffee, who came on his platform when men have been drinking coffee for a very, very long time. Let's keep listening.
It's how you tell people. It's how you talk to them. It's how you bring correction. It's how. It's not always what you say. It's how you say it. Guess what? Your average good guy that wants to just a good woman to love, he is not sitting on social media bashing people. He don't have time for it. He too busy living his life, working hard, taking care of his responsibility. And so often what's happening on social media is that because everybody runs to all the sensational, dramatic, because everyone's now, it is literally all about sensationalism.
All right, so as you guys have probably picked up, she sort of has the same stance that a lot of women who do drink coffee have when it comes to someone like Kevin Samuels. And he had his own method of getting this information across. And he was very effective. And he was very effective, obviously so, because here we are, right? Rest in peace. And people are still talking about what he did and the impact he had on helping people realize the problem, specifically within the Black community. But from what I hear, her disagreement's the same thing as a lot of other women out here who have platforms. It's the way you say it. It's the way you share the message. Just be more kind. Just be more loving, and people will accept it. The problem with the love and kindness approach being the best approach is it's not what always results in changed behavior. It's the problem with living in a female-focused society is when you're using the measure of what is the most effective way to accomplish a goal, even when it comes to social issues like relationships and love, when the measurement of the correct way to express yourself as a human being has to be as closely aligned to the female perspective as possible, then men will always fall short. What do I mean? If the person who says it the most kindness and the most loving way possible is the right messenger for people who need to hear a message, then men will always fall short. Why? Because men are more disagreeable. Men are more direct. Women, of course, if we're using that as the measurement of who's doing it the right way, who's getting the message across so that it's producing the most change. If we're using soft skills as like the most optimum way to get these messages across, then men will always be wrong because men aren't like women. Men will deliver a message a lot differently than women. And depending on which man is delivering that message, it varies in the degree of how direct that man is. And that may come across as harsh. So a lot of these chicks who say, oh, well, you just need to be softer, they want you to communicate like a woman. And they usually want the same type of thing in relationships. Oh, be nicer, be kind of, don't say it like that. And that's because they don't understand that men aren't their girlfriends, their best friends, and are going to be men. And she actually touches on that later on in another video. That's my problem with this whole, change your approach. Men aren't like that. It's just what it is, man. Now, this is not me saying that you should say things the most void of kindness and harsh way possible. No, I'm not saying that. Obviously, I think that kindness makes the message a little bit more tolerable, but sometimes it may not be so kind. And other public figures don't get trashed for having a more straight personality. And I'm talking about like the Simon Cowells and the Dave Ramseys of the world. What's the one chef guy? The one British chef, I believe is British. What's his name here? I'm trying to see. Oh, wow. Same guys. Dave Ramsey and Gordon Ramsay have the same last name. There you go. If you want your kid to come out with that type of straight, attitude, then make sure you add that Ramsey name in there. That was confusing for a second there. I was getting confused, guys. So Gordon Ramsay, right? All people who be considered harsh and hateful and angry, but the difference is they're not going against the agenda that's being tried to push, which is feminism in the dating market. Let's keep listening.
Sensationalism. It's all about reality TV. Ratings. It's all about getting people so you can do something that goes viral. But I'm going to say something, I'm going to say it real loud and clear. God ain't in it. God's not in it. Do you think that anything he said to her in that video was building her up or bringing correction from a place that's going to cause her to be able to reevaluate, rebuild her life? That's what I'm saying, Young Jay. Oh, now she's a pastor. Because I am a pastor. Do you guys see what I'm saying? It's like with social media, people don't even know who you are, right? Don't even know who you are. but go off of one thing they see. That's right. I'm not on here to break nobody's spirit.
All right. So she said, I'm not here to break nobody's spirit. And she talks about sensationalism. There is an element to that. There are platforms where people's only intention are to stir up controversy instead of actually help most people. But I will also say this. While that still may exist, I don't think it's anything new. Because I usually have a problem when I hear people who say this about even reaction channels, and say, well, you're just a reaction channel looking for drama. It's like most platforms are actually reaction channels. People using dating, relationships, and drama centered around that has been a thing for a while. Think of like Maury, Jerry Springer, the divorce court episodes. People do like that. As human beings, we like to take a peek into other people's dating lives, whether it's for educational purposes or entertainment, which I think most people it's for entertainment, right? Or a mixture of that, which would be like edutainment. But it's existed for a while. It's not something that's new. The platforms have changed. It's become decentralized because now the average day person like me or you, even you, can get on here and share their experiences. And now it hits a little bit more personal because you have nothing to lose if you're not known or you don't have a following. You're just being honest about situations, right? You're not being supported or funded by any political parties like on these news stations. By the way, news stations are reaction channels. They present the news and the people reacting are you. And the commentators are pretty much doing kind of the same thing I'm doing right now. They look for topics and they could present positive topics continuously, but they know that that's not what you want to see. You want excitement and you want something that's going to grab your attention. Human beings like stories. Now, to what degree should you consume yourself with that type of negativity? We can have that conversation. And yes, you do want to monitor that. But here again, a lot of your favorite Instagram pages are reaction platforms. They find viral topics and who's reacting? The audience reacts. Getting back to my main point, I'm kind of going off track here. She was talking about how this generation is about sensationalism. It's just always been that way in the media space. I don't think it's going to change. People do want an element of entertainment, and it's what works. If you don't have that, people won't watch. And yes, there are people who are genuinely trying to help, just like there are people who are not genuinely trying to help and they're just trying to profit. They've always existed, and I believe they always will. But I think what we have now are a bunch of men who have had no place to go and be honest. But I think what we have now, especially like on YouTube, are a generation of men who really could not be honest anywhere else. And in the past, on mainstream television, were shamed. No one was comforting these men, trying to check on how they feel. Check this out. Check out this clip. This is what people are used to seeing on television in the past without anybody challenging how things played out, right? No more wasting time. Let's get it.
You are not his father. I'm sorry. Oh, just... Oh, Ron, get her. Yeah, calm down, babe. It's okay. We're all here. We're all here. I'm here with you.
I'll play that one more time.
You are not his father.
Watch her get down to the floor.
I'm sorry. Oh, just... Oh, Ron, get her. Yeah, calm down, babe. It's okay. We're
all the eyes are on the woman who has cheated on her man and gone even a step further to have a child and lie to this man and somehow convince him that it's his, because otherwise he wouldn't be crying over here. And everybody, including the judge, who's usually pretty balanced, because I actually kind of like this judge. But they all go comforting her. And no one goes over to pat this man in the back and say, how are you doing? Because that's what was going on for a while before people had podcasts to say, what the F is going on here?
We're all here. I'm here with you.
Let's check out some comments in response to that, because a lot of people had a lot to say about that specific video. First comment here says, it's sad how no one showed him affection, but immediately came to her rescue. Somebody else responded back to that chick and said, you help the one with the most pain, or in this case, the one who pretends to be in the most pain. Poor dude, standing strong. And this is not to say that a man should not be strong, but men also need platforms and groups of people who will comfort them and speak out for them who actually care. But this society does not. They only care when a woman's feelings are being hurt. Here's another comment that says, the man deserves a hug more than anything in that moment. Here's another comment that says, he was crying because he was emotionally hurt from this. She was crying because she got caught. And somebody else here added to this thread and said, touche, and to be the victim and escape accountability. But of course, here's a woman who chimed in and she got 3K plus likes and said, I don't think you have the data to say why she was crying. I can tell you that you are definitely talking out your as someone who has been on both sides. So this chick's been cheating, having chicks outside of her marriage, etc. Life is complicated, she says, and there are a lot of people out there that try to put you in bad situations intentionally. Hold on.
God damn it! You can't make this shit up!
Can't make this shit up. She goes on to say, I think you should open your mind instead of using words your mother used to say to you when she was mad. Now, just imagine it was the other way around and some guy was just dogging a chick out, and things hit the fan. She decides to leave him and they're all crying and everybody rushes to the man. Guys, I'm not saying we need men to be babied out here, but I am saying men need a voice and a platform where they can voice out when things are getting ridiculous, and things got ridiculous. And what we see now are people speaking out more than ever. So eventually, Rebecca Lynn Pope, from what I understand, and I have a video here to back it up, quit being a matchmaker. And she said this was because she was having a difficult time with modern women and their delusional expectations. Now, I've heard her kind of say that the male space on YouTube ran with this way too hard and misconstrued her words. We're just going to listen to what she had to say here and see what you think of this video. Let's check it out.
I stopped matchmaking. And the reason I stopped matchmaking is because I literally was I can't handle female clients. I was a matchmaker that matched females, and I had a few male clients, but predominantly I was matching women.
So she says she stopped because she couldn't work with female clients. She couldn't deal with them. Let's keep listening.
And listen, it was such a valuable lesson for me, because what I learned is that the average woman doesn't really want just a good man. She doesn't want a husband. What she's really wanting are these standards or ideas that she has of what a man is supposed to be.
So there she said it, guys. Remember when I said she's going to let you know that the majority of women, which are average, are lost and delusional? Here, she's serving coffee.
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
If what she says here, she believes, then she's admitting that the average woman is delusional about their expectations and specifically the type of men that they qualify for. Again, the issue wasn't what was said, but more how things were said, which I don't think is much of an issue at all.
But this is nothing what men are. This is not realistic for who men are, how they think, what they value. It's just this preconceived idea that women have of who men should be. But this is not reality, okay? So literally, the standards here that I see consistently in women that stay single, do not get married, and the difference between women and wives is understanding, one, that men are not women. He's not going to be your best friend like your best girlfriend. You can't talk to him like that. They don't talk like that. They don't talk that much. They're not so sensitive and girly the way we are as women. So if you're expecting a man to be all super sensitive and so considerate and just so everything like your girlfriends, you're barking up the wrong tree.
God damn it! You can't make this shit up!
Do I have to say it, guys? Do I have to say it? So she's obviously echoing what I just said about how men aren't as kind, soft when it comes to communicating as women. So you can't expect that to be the case, which then would lead me to ask, well, why was she so emotional? Well, she's a woman. Got to remember, she's a woman. That's not me. It's just the truth. She's saying it herself. She was crying and stuff for the average or best chick earlier, but why was she so surprised that KS at that time was so upfront, cutthroat with the way he communicated when she understood that men don't communicate the same way that women do. I've had people tell me that they appreciate the way I communicate, but even if I'm not as straightforward and harsh as other content creators have been or may currently be, there's still millions of women out there who think I'm a horrible person, not based on what I say, but just on how I say things. And of course, a lot of that is also what I say. To the wrong person, you're not going to get through to them unless if they're tired enough that they actually need to drink that coffee.
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
Right? Until they're desperate for that caffeine in their system. Let's keep listening.
He's gonna hurt your feelings all the time. I mean, literally, there's a distinct difference between marriage material, men who are ready to be husbands, and these F-boys that you've been messing around with.
By the way, I want to let you guys know that I cut these videos up. So now she's moving to a different subject, which is talking about women going after F-boys, etc.
In out of these situationships with for years. And so now you have this standard for a man and a husband based on these dudes that have just been playboys, fun, boy toys, whatever you want to call it, girls, okay? So a man comes along that is crazy about you and is interested in you, and I'm sorry to say, you have friend-zoned the men that really you're compatible with, the men that would make a wonderful husband. A lot of you have friend-zoned the good dude who's ready to be a husband and a father and give you some pretty babies. Because the other thing is men do not look like us. Let me be clear about this.
Does this all sound familiar, guys? Let's keep listening.
We are the fairer sex. God created us to be beautiful, not men. You are the fairer sex.
Agreed.
You're the beautiful one. You're the gorgeous one. You're the one that men go to war over. You're the one that men literally will kill for. You're the one that they're out here trying to make all this money to impress you, to get you. Quit looking at men. Is he 6'2"? Is he look like Boris Kodjoe or Idris Elba or Michael Ealy? Do you know the percentages of men? This is what I just would die to say to my matchmaking clients and the people that would come in for consultations because they want to be matched. And they're coming to me. I'm sitting here just being a good woman. So I'm thinking, these women just want to be married. These women just want a good man. Nah, boo, that's not what they wanted.
Right.
What they want is if I'm going to pay this money, I want me a Michael Ealy. I want me a Boris Kodjoe.
Right.
Well, look, boo.
By the way, why she's saying if they're going to pay this money is because she dealt with, I think she said in the last video too, she dealt with women who were high earners, right? So you could guess why she kind of lost it and said, F that.
Boris Kodjoe's married. Last time I checked, Idris Elba's taken. These men are such a small percentage of the population. Do you guys understand that for a man to be over 6'2"?
They don't get it. Guys, I'm done. She should stop effing. I'm done. She should stop effing. Pause it. I'm done. I'm done. I'm sorry. I'm done.
Is less than 3% of the population. And we're talking all men around the world, less than 3% of the population. And if you add in what he looks like looking like Idris and making money like this and that, honey, look, you looking for the come up for real because I don't know where he's at. And the biggest thing I'm going to leave you with is this, is that because most of you have never experienced the love that God has for you, God's best for you. You've never experienced the love of a husband. You've never experienced deep, true love. So you have no point of reference. All you can do and what you're doing is you're comparing these experiences to the past.
Okay. There's not a lot here that I disagree with, guys. So I wasn't playing any of this to show a lot of what I disagreed with. I was showing some inconsistencies with a lot of what's said about approach and people thinking that this whole thing just comes down to how much love do you have behind sharing a certain message that may be difficult for most people to have. That's not it. And the contradiction with someone like Rebecca Lynn Pope and other women who think like her is while she can admit that she understands that men don't communicate the same way women do, when a woman is on public display getting checked, forced to drink coffee, now it's time to bring out the tears and like, oh, where's the love? Where's this? Nope, it's time to have a shot of espresso. So finally, here we are, the video that everybody kept sending to me without any further delay. This video is titled, Men Don't Want to Marry These Women. Let's get it.
Hello, happy Tuesday, everybody. I'm coming on and I'm going to try to take my time with this message because I think it's so important and there's so many nuances to this topic, and there's so many things that are on my mind this morning that I want to share, and I think that I definitely have to just make sure I take my time with this for a second. So first of all, the reason I'm doing this video is this morning I woke up and with some things on my mind that I was thinking about difficult women. My mind went back to matchmaking. I did a video years ago where I talked about unrealistic expectations of women, and you know, the manosphere took it and ran with it in so many different directions, but I was really talking about a demographic of women. My matchmaking clients were very high earning, high performing, high achieving women who.
But you did mention average woman, not just that particular demographic. Let's see. Listen.
Made, you know, six figures and plus, who had very unrealistic opinions about men or expectations of men. But there's something deeper that I want to share, which is what guided me into doing a lot of the healing work and spiritual healing courses and work that I began to do after being a matchmaker. And that was because what I discovered, and ladies, this is not something that you're going to really be aware of, especially if you yourself are a very loving and kind woman. Loving and kind women tend to run in packs, just like good men tend to run in packs. It's very easy to think that most people are like you. So as a matchmaker, what I encountered in some of these women was that the surface level, they were very nice, cool, I thought of as loving, good women. And then we got into the dating portion of the matchmaking through the initial coaching, and now it's time to get into the dates. And they were triggered. All this nasty, mean girl side of them came out. And I was so confused because they show up looking like nice, sweet, loving, kind women, but behind the scenes that you may not realize that who they are with men, who they are in different situations is totally different than how they're showing up with you in your friendship. So guess what? I realized there's a whole demographic of women who you may know, ladies who are listening right now, you may know and think, oh, she's so sweet, she's so nice, she's so cool, she's such a great friend. And she is a whole nightmare with men.
That's facts.
She's a nightmare to date. She's a nightmare to try to get along with.
That's true.
She's a nightmare to try to please, right? So Jess Leslie says, what triggers the switch? The switch and the triggers come from trauma, rejection, unhealed pain, comes from childhood issues. It comes from all different types, but the end result is pain. The end result is unhealed pain. So guess what? I almost titled this video specifically towards women to say, it might be you. It might be you. You are the common denominator in your life. You may not be the type of woman that men want to marry. You may not be the type of woman that men want to marry. If you don't have men trying to, when they date you and do get a chance to know you, and they don't want to marry you, they don't want to be with you, you might be the problem. Because that's never been a problem in my life. And it's never been a problem for many of the women I know. And this is not for everybody. But I'm saying to the women who tend to be nasty, mean-spirited,
I'm sorry. I just read this comment underneath this video. It says, and you wonder why most hurricanes are named after women. Oh, man. Yeah, these people are wild. Let's keep listening.
Right? Literally, constantly got an ego, projection, high standards, demanding, picky, never happy, constantly high maintenance. Everything's a problem. I saw it in my matchmaking, and I looked at these women and I got a totally different perspective. And that's not just black women. There are many women, white, black, Latina, who struggle to be married. Might have been married once, but listen, as they've gotten older and it gets worse and worse and worse, the attitudes get worse and worse, the entitlement, the hyper independence, everybody else is the issues, never looking at self. And this is what I want to be clear about. For these type of women, there is an overall lack of awareness that they are the problem. There's no personal accountability. There's no awareness. There's no work. They're not doing healing work. Because why would they want to do healing work? Why would I want to go to therapy? I'm not the problem. It's these men. These men suck, Rebecca. All these men suck. And the statistics, and they swallow up all the videos that talk about the difficulties in dating.
I would argue again and say that this is not a small sect of women. This is most women. And I don't mean just black women, Western women.
And the statistics, and they say they apply it to them as the excuse and the scapegoat for why nobody wants them, or why they can't be married with a good man. Why is it not working for you? No, sis, that's not it. You're still just one person. And there's plenty of good people in the world, good men in the world, that would be able to be married to you if you didn't have an attitude problem, if you didn't have PTSD, if you weren't walking around so prideful and projecting all this ego and acting as if you're the shit and nobody can even come close, that you're just lucky to even be dating me. You're lucky to even be around me. Oh, because you know I'm the ish. And then all of the work that goes into the posturing. So degrees and titles and cars and houses and money. I had 2 clients, a doctor and a lawyer, back when I was matchmaking. Couldn't beg, borrow, or steal a man to commit to them. They weren't ugly. They weren't ugly. We know that men will tolerate a lot of ish from gorgeous women. A lot of ish. Men will let me say it again and slow down. Men will tolerate a lot from beautiful women. But if you're average and you're not drop dead gorgeous, I've said it before. What's drop dead gorgeous? Face and body.
That's not very nice. Where is the love? Keep listening.
That does it for him. If you're not drop dead gorgeous and you're looking at other people and comparing situations to drop dead gorgeous women who got men tolerating their BS because men are so visible.
But they all think they're 10s. They all think they're 10s. They all think they would be mad at her for this. Because most women, if you ask them, hey, rate yourself. Guys, come on. How many times do we have to have the same conversation?
Rate more for those visuals, but still not be happy. The type of women that men truly want to be married to are beautiful women who are also kind, who have boundaries and backbone, but are not mean girls. They want some peace. They want peace in their day-to-day life. It's fine for you to have backbone. It's fine for you to have boundaries. That's what healthy people have. But to deal with BS constantly, up and down every day, don't know what you're gonna deal with today, tomorrow, ups and downs and craziness, and she's triggered by this, and now she's mad at you over something that happened to her when she was 6, and all over the place. But then you're wondering why nobody wants to marry you. Shoot, your friends barely tolerate you.
Damn.
If you're really transparent with your friends aren't even honest with you. Because they catch on to the mean girl stuff. They catch on to the attitudes and the posturing and the ego. Because you know I'm the shit girl. Because you know me. I get it done. You know I handle my business. You know. And they're looking at you like, yeah, but you're pretty difficult. And I have to take you in doses. You think a man is going to lay down, wake up, deal with you in day-to-day life? If he can't enjoy his days, if it's constantly crazy, and you constantly making him feel like he's not as good as you, constantly throwing stuff in his face that he's not performing on your level, or he needs to get on your level, or he's not. And guess what? Guess who's guilty of this the most? Super high achieving, successful women who get a little money and it goes to their head.
Really?
And they think that their shit don't stink.
Right.
And they think that men are going to put up with them being brats because they think they bring all this to the table. And men don't care about that. So now your money, your car, your house, whatever it is you've accomplished materialistically, whatever it is you think that you bring to the table with your titles, your money, and all of that, he'll still leave. He'll still walk away, which is the very thing that you're afraid of because you've got all kinds of pain from childhood issues of rejection and abandonment. So this is what I come to say. Therapy. You need therapy.
All right, guys, there you go. And she encourages therapy. And like I said, there's not much I disagree with what Rebecca Lynn Pope actually has to say, other than the harsh stance she probably takes on most men who get out here and say the message in not such a soft, feminine. And she encourages therapy, which is something that Cass obviously encouraged. Other content creators I've seen encourage. So there's not a whole lot to disagree on here. As stated earlier, I think while I can agree that adding a bit of cream and sugar to these conversations can make it more tolerable for any person, man or woman, who has to drink coffee. While that may help, I think the message being effective has less to do with that. I think it has less to do with the messenger, but has more to do with the receiver. What type of mindset is that man or woman in when they have to face the harsh realities of today's dating market? Those who are tired and have been asleep and they need something to just give them that breakthrough will
Drink the coffee.
Drink
It'll
the
make
coffee.
you feel better.
They'll drink that coffee. Black as it may come, they will drink that coffee because at that point, they're willing to do the work no matter the cost because they know in the end, drinking the coffee and getting back to work will help the whole situation and of course, will make them feel better. Guys, as always, I'm curious to know, what do you guys think of this video? Leave your comments and thoughts down below. I appreciate you checking out yet another episode of The Coffee Pot. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.